Then bullshit on.
I feel like the mic is over here somewhere. So I've got something that is recording.
Is it endless recording? Does it just keep going?
I think it'll just keep going.
All right. We can't talk bad about anybody because we're recording now.
Or we can. It's always the fun of discovery when your friends hear you talking about them on your first. The better late night than never show.
Yes. This is a better late night than never show with Whit Walters and Joey Laddick.
Yeah, the two of us at the same table.
Right.
Looking at each other.
Right. We are at my dining room table. I'm Whit, and we're sitting and looking and talking and
Discussing
whatever happens.
Well, I was thinking about things.
Yep.
On the way over here.
Yep.
And silly things all over the place. I knew we would talk about skateboarding at some point.
Of course.
And then I started, in my head, I was like, prostitutes or call girls? Is there a difference?
I think that's just it's just what you want to call them. What do you mean? I mean,
well, what led to it
is there a distinction?
I think there may be or there may not be. So I didn't know if it was worth making a distinction or just run with it. You know,
I think call girls is just a nice way, or maybe an antiquated way to refer to a person as a prostitute. I don't think anybody says call girls anymore.
Escort,
prostitute, whore.
yes, yeah, that's a good one.
All those things.
I mean, not good, but it is. You know,
I'm not gonna delve into my.
because that can go either way.
Right.
Oh, you dirty whore! You know, talk
Right.
to me.
Yeah, you
Or,
dirty call girl.
You're just such a.
Hey,
you
hey,
whore.
call girl. Yeah. I don't know. I think call girl is just an antiquated term.
So I mean, it makes sense they wouldn't use it so much. But prostitutes is straight up, I guess, rude. But maybe in the '70s it would have been acceptable. I'm trying to think of other things than gender and race that also have evolved.
Is prostitute rude, or is prostitute the actual word? I mean, is that the
I think the act
term.
of calling an escortress a
Escort.
prostitute, she may take offense to it.
Or whore?
But if you're trying to explain to your buddies and friends, like,
Did you recently
no, I
visit?
haven't. No, I just had been thinking thoughts, you know, and it had to do with all things Wendy Davis. I read a story about her, and she
Called her a
she
whore.
did strip dancing apparently to.
Now have a
I think I'm making this up too, but I feel like to pay for her Harvard education, and that came out in a story like, oh wow, what a working girl. It's acceptable because she's going to an Ivy League college.
Yeah.
And I probably totally made that up, but the scenario has lived its part out, many a time.
Okay.
And so I was like, a prostitute or call girl, well, escort. It's like, I don't know. I mean, it goes both ways. So I guess it could, it goes both ways.
I think escort is a different breed. I think escort, they all do the same thing, but I think there's some call girls that are escorts that don't do what they
really do. Do.
Yeah.
And I think mobile phones probably changed the whole thing.
Sure.
Yeah,
and laptops.
Because it's a mobile girl.
Yeah. But I don't know. I mean, they're all prostitutes at the end of the day. Not all girls, but all call girls.
Right.
Prostitutes at the end of the day.
I guess they're not always girls.
Yep.
Yeah.
It could be whatever you want. Maybe they're girls and they have
Well, let's talk about let's get the skateboarding in there.
Okay.
We're a couple guys in our 4.0s.
Yes.
The
Almost in our 4.1s.
Yeah, the Forte Club for those that are approaching it or envious of.
Yeah.
It's when your gray hair is considered distinguished.
Yeah. Yeah. There's we are very distinguished because we have gray hair.
And then back in the neighborhood, there was the Tanglehood, the other side of the tracks. So,
Right.
I resided.
Right. I didn't grow up there, but you're good.
It was on the better side of the tracks, and everyone had their skate posse.
Yeah.
You know, everyone did their thing.
Yeah.
And I think everyone was graduated when they weren't referred to as a poser or.
Yes. Yeah.
And I mean, let's talk about that. Did you ever have the fear, like, you know, you're learning how to skate, and it's like,
No, I didn't. When I first started skating, and you know, my first couple years in skating, I didn't have the. I wasn't skating with people. You know, I skated by myself a lot, and I had a couple buddies in the neighborhood that skated, but they weren't trying to skate like I was. I mean, I was trying to
really
progress, and you know, I wanted to build ramps and you know do this stuff.
Well, yeah. Raise your hand. Who had ramps?
Oh, us.
Hello.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
4 hands up in the air.
Yeah.
That's a whole lot of ramp.
Yeah.
I mean, that's serious.
But I was trying to, you know, do the stuff I saw in the magazines and build ramps and progress and blah blah blah. And some of the guys I was skating with early on, you know, when I first got big wide skateboards, they were just like,
yeah, the 9+ inch.
yeah,
Those good stuff. Your feet fit.
You know, early 83, 84. You know, these guys are just happy pushing around on them and standing on them because they were comfortable to ride on. But I wanted to, you know, I started thinking about going up curbs and, you know, parking blocks and whatever, way before jump ramps. But
I'm trying to think. We got to participate in another evolutionary thing. It was going from the boneless, to the ollie,
yeah,
and a huge transition.
Yeah, I mean, and evolution is right. I mean, it's just, you know, the boneless in the early 80s to the ollie in the mid 80s to the no comply in the late 80s.
The no comply, you know.
And then the flip tricks beyond that.
Yeah.
It's a, I mean, we really should diagram that, and someone has.
I'm sure someone
anyway,
has.
But I went from the boneless to the ollie, and then when it got to the flip trick, I was like, fuck that.
But we still got to bite into it and invent like the
absolutely
ollie 360 kickflip.
Well, you did that. You went that far. I didn't. I was like, you know, when it got to the kickflip, I was like, I don't know.
Well, I think it started pegging us off too because I was terrible at the kickflip. I don't know why. That was like very hard to.
Can you do
conquer.
one now?
50%.
If I put you on the grass, on a setup, a skinny setup, like an 8-inch wide board.
I think it would take me several tries.
Several.
Yeah. Like because I tried it recently in Connecticut. I have my I got
the
to go
double
from
vision.
the double vision.
Right.
So we went from the 9. I think these are 9.5 or so wide.
These are 10.
Yeah, 10. Yeah, 10, 11. So we had. I think the double vision is 9 3/4 maybe.
Yeah.
2 towels.
That was the first double kick board.
Very first.
Yeah.
People like to give it to Vallely, but I say other.
Yeah, I think the double vision was the first.
I was the only kid on the block, or blocks, you know, that adopted the new technology. I was an early adopter.
Yeah.
But then I went to the graphite Gullwing trucks. Enjoyed them. They had the graphite base and then an aluminum.
The Street Shadows, maybe?
Street Shadow 1 and 2s.
Yeah.
You know, they really had us. I remember the ollie when it came out. I mean, it was just a friend or someone probably did it by accident. We didn't have the internet. You know, we had Thrasher magazine,
Right.
Transworld if you were snooty, and
Hey, easy.
I don't know. I didn't even. I was not even looking at you, but you probably had both.
Yeah.
Good times. But the young ones today, I mean, they do. Are they called burials? Whatever they do, the handless ollie tricks.
Right.
I mean, it's out of control.
There's a handful of kids that are skating transition now. They're not just jumping on handrails and doing.
Oh, they're going back to a little ramp.
Yeah,
action.
I mean, they're skating, concrete skate parks, 10-foot bowls, and they're not wearing any pads.
Right.
And they're beasts, and they and everything they do is so old school, but they're also throwing in
some new.
Yeah, like kick flips and varials and whatever, and it's just
insane. What was your proudest wit trick? Like the one that was like your signature? I'm sure there's many.
Jump ramp, launch ramp 360, front side 360, because no one would.
I can never do the 360.
No one would go front side 360 off a jump ramp.
Yeah,
and I just for some reason my body just kind of worked that way when I always did front side ramps or front side jumps when I was, going off a quarter pipe and whatever. But yeah, no one would go front side a full 360. So that was my deal.
I had no idea that you accomplished such a feat.
Yeah, I've got video of it somewhere.
Oh, good stuff. The Stealthfish grab. I guess it was a burial. We didn't call it that, but you would launch. We had a 3-foot launch ramp with 10-foot transition.
Yeah.
He grabs Stealthfish, and then you rotate the board around.
Okay. Yeah, like a board varial, maybe.
Board varial. Maybe. But I was so proud of that. With the double vision, 2 tails on the board. Who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows what you just did.
Where am I coming from?
And then when you hit the concrete, everyone that hits the concrete just rolling after a launch. I mean, that's balls. I mean, that is propelling yourself.
Sure. Is
close to flight, probably grander than what the Wright brothers did with their first aircraft.
Yeah, I always, people. The people that have never skateboarded kind of naysay it, say it's just bullshit and whatever, but I really want to get everyone who can, roll that motherfucker down the street and see if it suits you. If it does, it doesn't. But
are you talking about us 4-0ers that to jump back on our boards?
Oh no, everybody.
Oh,
everybody.
Just people go exercise and let's go back to
roll down. Roll down the street and push back up the street and push down the block and
Yeah, that's what we did. In the morning through late hours of the night.
Yeah.
Through neighborhoods. IH10 wasn't developed as much as it is nowadays of all of it. We had to truck around. I mean, we skated from neighborhood to neighborhood. The posse would build, and some days better than others.
Yeah.
So we have like a Tanglewood Hood posse, and then we all intersect at some. Where was that ditch? There were several of them, but
Big Meadows. Big Meadows or VJ. Vance Jackson ditch.
Vance Jackson.
Yeah. Vance Jackson was the big one.
And those were the fun moments because everyone's neighborhood had their own things, excursions that would go on.
Yeah, it was like it was almost like little gangs.
Yeah, little gangs, friendlier than the Bloods and the Crips. But
right. Well, sure. I hope.
Mm-hmm. Well, there was always that other skate group, like from the South Side, where their boards were several times used over the Nash,
I remember when I was first starting to get out and skate other spots, and I was at Big Meadows. My dad took me and Dusty. I don't know who else was with us. There was a couple.
Dusty Vollmer.
Yeah.
With the Toyota. Land 4Runner that had the top that came off.
Oh no, did he have that?
I think so.
He I just remember it was raining and my dad took us out and we had our boards in the trunk, and I don't know why Dad was even taking us out anyway. But anyway, we went and skated Big Meadows, and Big Meadows is, it's so shallow, it's just bullshit, and it had water in it, and we were, fucking around and whatever. And we, got done and threw our boards in the trunk and drove back to my house, and my dad popped the trunk, and it's an 85 Buick LeSabre that I ended up driving for a little while. It was a really great car.
You didn't just date yourself right there, but yeah, that's our era. Yeah.
But like a 307, it had a horrible exhaust leak, and it ran awesome despite the exhaust leak. But my dad popped the trunk, and Dusty jumped out and grabbed I remember he had a Pal Peralta Skull and Sword.
Oh, the Pal Peralta.
Yeah. And he grabbed he grabbed a towel out of my dad's workout bag and started drying that thing off, and my dad was like, "Hey, that's not your towel. What are you doing?" And those two was like, "Poop."
Look at that skate mess on there.
We're like, yeah. Because our boards are wet because we were skating in the rain. Whatever.
Even within the skateboarding, the discovery of things, and this maybe opens a segue to our next conversation, but
yeah.
Pre-internet, going outside, actually doing stuff, getting on that board that was your proud, monument to yourself to show others, here's my stick,
right.
This is it,
yeah,
and respect it. I'll respect yours, and whatever we called them back then, our decks, our boards, or they were our crusading swords. I mean,
what was your first the first board you remember owning? I mean, everybody knows their first board, but
right. The very first board was a Vision Shredder.